All right, hello everybody. This is my Skybrid War submission video for Zane Reborn 2, the sequel. So, I'm working with another YouTuber called Shibadik Chakraborty, and he probably will make a video about the Pterosaur hybrid, more detail into that. We both kind of worked on all of these, but this is the concept art that I did for these two hybrids called Maverick and Lockhead. Those are the nicknames, and the Pterosaur's official name in the contest is CL-1201. It's named after all the planes and aircrafts in Top Gun Maverick. So, this here is my part that I worked on more extensively of the two birds. We got Harpy Eagle as the base. This accounts for the size and build, and the talons, and the sharp hook, and the maneuverability of the jungle, and the Peregrine, which adds for aerial agility and abilities, the diving ability, and the talons, and was it wing structure? Here, let me just sit here in silence for like 5 minutes. I can't. I'll think of it later. So, the free-tailed swift is one of the fastest powered flight birds ever. It can go like 100 miles in powered flight. It's very agile, very maneuverable, and a very good flyer. So that should reinforce the agility and speed and maneuverability of this hybrid. So, and then we got the barn owl, which adds quite a bit. So the barn owl, that will add for the night vision. It has a good hardy immune system for if there's any deadly pathogens that may or may not enter, and it has specialized feathers that are shaped to greatly reduce a lot of air resistance. So it has a near silent flight, and it has the facial disc, which helps capture sounds, and then very good hearing. And so then we have the Dromaeosaurus, which reinforces the sharp talons and the claws, and it will add some small shredding teeth to our hybrid, and that also makes it able to communicate with the Pterosaur. Chrysophylax, that's his nickname. Chrysophylax is from Lord of the Rings, but the contest in the official name will be CL-1201. So communication, Dromaeosaurus, that allows that because that's a common one that's in both, as well as the honey buzzard. Honey buzzard is in both of them. So the honey buzzard, this is like a little bit of a chemical warfare type of thing. This one is pretty cool. So it's got hardened and tightly knit feathers near the face, which adds protection against smaller insects like hymenopterans like bees and wasps, and it's able to hunt those on the regular without getting stung, since it's got a good barrier / protection without sacrificing the weight, or without adding any more weight. So the honey buzzard, and then it has special lenses on its eyes that also protect it from possibly getting stung. And then they're very patient and tactical birds. So that should do well. Spectral bat This also adds for night hunting prowess. It's very good at hunting. It's the echolocation ability, because I didn't want to have the echolocation be too strong, just lest it gets a bit overstimulated with its senses. So it's something that I want to avoid, but still have the echolocation that is used for finding animals at night. Let's see. The Raven adds for intelligence and cooperativeness and what's the word? Not mogging. Flocking. It's very tactical. It's intelligent. It has a good memory. It's able to fight dirty. It has a cool ability of making it sound like its calls are going in a different direction, so that could like possibly confuse other people. Sorry. It confuses people sometimes, but in this contest it will hopefully maybe it'll trick some guy. Maybe, I hope. So it can be tricky with its calls and is able to copy a lot of different noises, including a good range of people's voices too. So a phrase that these guys will like to say, there's going to be two of these birds here, so what they like to say is "fly you fools." This is a reference to Lord of the Rings, of course, and then I thought it fit in because it's a Skybird horror. Did I say whore? Whoops. I'll mark it as not for kids in the editing video. Anyways, so "Fly You Fools" is the Skybird war. Excuse my editing here. "Fly You Fools." Let's see. Very smart. So the female Lockhead is probably going to be about 11 pounds, and then Martin, the male, is 9 pounds. So since this is usually how it goes, like where you see in birds of prey that the female is sometimes larger than the male, usually just to better take care of the eggs and whatnot. So yeah, here's a basic review of what they both have though. So very maneuverable in flight. You got those senses, claws, strong talons, strong grip, facial disc, teeth, very smart and tactical, speedy in the air, inquisitive, and all that. Let's see. This one. So here are my metrics. So the height is 39 inches. Weight 9 to 11 pounds, but that's with both of them. So length 3.9 feet. I did that because of the tail for Dromaeosaurus, but I don't really think that's necessary. I wouldn't want to have that in there. So it's going to be about 3.3 feet. Wingspan 6 to 6.3 feet. The wings are kind of interesting because they are kind of a mix between the peregrine and swift. So the first arm bone is kind of shortened in order to grant faster movements for the secondary parts of the wings, which adds for the agility and certain movements that are needed for that. So ground speed is probably about maybe 5 miles per hour max. It does have the Dromaeosaur, but it still has long talons, so I'm going to say 5 miles per hour. But it may vary. Cruising, about 70, or I looked it up, it's actually probably closer to like 60 miles per hour for peregrines and harpy eagles, but it's going to be the size of a harpy eagle, so it's going to be about 65 miles per hour. I think that's a good medium. Rushing, powered flight, non-diving is about 85 to 95 miles per hour. The free-tailed swift adds in for this, for the speed department, so, but it's still not quite 100 like the other one, just because it's heavier. And the dive is about 175 to 195 miles per hour max, because I don't want it to go as fast, because naturally it probably can't, because it's a lot bigger than a swift or peregrine. So, up to 100 hertz for the spectral bat, which adds for some good detection at night. And the left foot, wasn't sure if I wanted to do something that was kind of like the owl or something that was kind of like the peregrine or other birds of prey. So, because sometimes you see in owls, you see the other pointer finger also point backwards, what makes it look like there's two toes on each side. I don't know, it might depend, but here it is. So about 3, what did I say, 3.3, 39 inches roughly. Yeah, okay. I like to simplify faces of birds sometimes, and this is what I got out of it. Okay. Yeah. The stats aren't really going to vary at all that much if we're comparing Maverick and Lockhead, because it's really kind of like barely a difference here. But Maverick can fly a little bit faster and is a little bit more agile just because it's a given, because it's lighter. So, and then the numbers can vary from there. So here is CL1201. This is the Pterosaur part, and he is they're in a symbiotic relationship, basically. Symbiotic relationship / this was an experiment, basically, like the parental care of mixed aerial species. So that's what we came up with together, seeing how they do. So I got the honey buzzard and Dromaeosaurus Haxagopteryx as the base, which adds for the overall build and the bulkiness and the quadrupedal position of the flyer. And so the Komodo, this adds for iron reinforced teeth and a reinforced skull and neck. It has heightened neck vertebrae, which allows for more muscle attachments and more muscle leverage. This will add for a good thrashing ability. The Komodo also adds some loose, scaly skin that is at the base of the wings, which adds for a little bit of protection there. But it has the honey buzzard feathers on its body and back, and this adds for, and also near the face. So this adds for protection around there against any smaller opponents. And the Tupuzuara is basically just more reinforcement for this Pterosaur build. It's a very sleek and fast, large Pterosaur with a cool crest, and I think it's pretty underrated. I think it's pretty cool. It's a very good flyer. This will basically reinforce that flying ability with the Pterosaur. The Kunpengopteryx is another Pterosaur, but the Kunpengopteryx and the Neurognathus are pretty small, so I wouldn't think it would mess up too much based on physics, but it depends on what you're actually taking from each specimen. So with the Kunpengopteryx, we're taking that for this prehensile thumb, so that can definitely add for some grappling ability with more manipulation possibilities. And our Neurognathus is for also night vision. And it also has, based on what I'm hearing, again, wouldn't want to be wrong, but it also has certain adaptations for more silent flying. And that doesn't mean that this big guy is going to be completely silent. It just means it's probably going to be muffled. So, or just not as loud as it could be. So, the Neurognathus and then the honey buzzard, again, same benefits, excuse me, I'm hoping for as the Maverick and Lockhead. And turkey vulture, this adds for the hardy immune system and the acidic barf move. It'll be able to barf out shit. Very acidic barf. He's going to be able to do that. And pound for pound, they can spray at like 7 feet. So if you put that into a larger pterosaur, it's probably like maybe 20 feet or so. So this is going to be a very sticky and acidic type of quote-unquote breath move. So, and also I heard that turkey vultures are able... Wait, hold on. Scratch that. That's the California condor. Never mind. Okay, Dromaeosaurus, and this adds for the claw and the teeth, the presence of teeth, because the Komodo and the Dromaeosaurus will add for justification for the teeth being present there. Iron coating, and then also loose skin around the neck and chest, which will make it harder to put more damage into, and will also allow the CL1201 to turn around and bite whoever is attacking. And Dromaeosaurus also adds for more ability to pin certain opponents. So the Komodo, with its venomous bite as well, would be pretty dangerous. And hold on, brain paused. Let's see the site. Yep. And yeah. Oh, the neck. So the neck is going to be very strong, since Hatzegopteryx and all those already had pretty strong necks, and so it'll be added on to for the Komodo and possibly the Dromaeosaurus. So here are some more details. So stats for CL1201: height is about 11 feet. He is condensed and more bulky, but he is not as heavy as Hatzegopteryx or Quetzalcoatlus. So he's about 375 pounds. As per the Hatsi and Komodo. So 11 feet roughly. The weight, 300, yep. Length, 35 feet, because it has the tail of the Komodo and the Dromaeosaurus, basically to whip away opponents and smaller flyers if they get too close and if they're in position. Wingspan is about 37 feet. This is because of the Tupuzwara has long wings in proportion compared to Azhdarchids, so it's a bit of a mix between those two types of wings, so it's about 37 feet, though he is smaller than a Hatzegopteryx. So the ground speed is around 20 miles per hour. That is what I looked up, and I believe that is how fast they can go. Cruising flight, about 55 miles per hour. Rushing, as in, because he can't dive, because that would be too risky. It might depend, but rushing will be about 80 miles per hour, as per the Tupuzwara and Hatzegopteryx, since the Quetzalcoatlus and Hatzegopteryx can go roughly 80 miles per hour. So, here's the skull. It's a mix between the Dromaeosaurus, Hatzegopteryx, and Komodo dragon. As with the teeth, skull reinforcement, more muscle leverage, about 7 vertebrae, because some Azhdarchids, or a lot of them, they have like 6 vertebrae, unless I'm wrong, but that's what I counted when I searched it up. But this one has 7, just as a meet in the middle type of thing, because he's got a couple birds in his genome, and they usually have more than 7 vertebrae, so it's kind of a interesting thing. So more muscle leverage with the heightened top part of the neck vertebrae. So the opposable thumb with the Quinbangopteryx, iron-enforced teeth, thanks to the Komodo dragon. Pretty flexible neck, since he's got an extra vertebrae here, so he can reach certain parts of the body, but not like to the same extent as a bird can, since again he's with more strength usually decreases flexibility. So he's not as flexible as, like, say, a bird or a parrot or whatever, but can still get around. So here's the general look at the wingspan. So yeah, pretty long wings, and the membrane goes to the legs. And the legs, these are, whoops, sorry. Let's see. So the legs are like a mix between Asdarchids and birds because he's got the digitigrade posture, but the membrane still goes in between the legs, which helps so that the legs can also assist in takeoff. So, and with the claw there, and then the tail connected, so that makes the wingspan, the tail really adds to the length, so it makes it like the length and the height pretty similar, but again, he still does have the greater wingspan, and so we get the acidic vomit thanks to the turkey vulture, and is able to gallop, and has more bulky limb posture and more bulky limbs that are more even in length, which allows for better grappling abilities and for more stable posture. So there we go. I think I've said all that I believe I would say. So there's two contributors that it has in common with the birds, so it will allow for communication and planning and strategies and whatnot depending on where they are. So I think that's about it. I know that I would probably forget something because I always tend to forget something. So updated stats, I might change them. I'll get a post on my channel with probably more updated things and maybe a little bit of color and tweaks here and there. So there we are. I think this will be pretty cool. So Martin and Lockhead, the birds, and CL1201. All right. Sorry, I just went into the void for a little bit. So, if anybody looks at this, thanks for looking. And I'll see y'all there in the next episode. Have a great one.